and no one has, like I said, approached me and told me anything, but other you might have this experience where some people have come forward and said, this is the relationship I am in. But like I said, the bottom line, it is haram, no question about it. Sorry.
Yeah, one thing about here in America when it comes to marriage, and when it comes to wives, for example, in Islam you get what, have 4 wives? And then in America what, it's like only 1 wife? And then I guess if you have like more than 1 wife, you get prosecuted for bigotry, or something like that. Now that being the case, I think that for a situation like that, because it's part of their religion, you can do that. As long as it's a sincerely held religious belief. That means that any law that's here in America that contradicts with Islam, you follow Islam, and that will be your defense.
So just to elaborate and just to give an idea of the question, the brother said, for example, in Islam, polygamy is allowed. You're allowed to have up to 4 wives. In the American Constitution, you can only have 1. You cannot have polygamy. So, what do? Do you then follow Islam or you follow the Constitution? Okay, naturally, at first hand, you will follow the Constitution, but anything that contradicts Islam, and if a American or anything in the Constitution contradicts Islam, then indeed you can follow that. But we need to keep in mind the similar situation happening in India, where where people or the ulama, the scholars are coming forward and fighting for a separate set of laws for Muslim personal law. So even here on our part as Muslims, you should be going forward and having a separate, telling the American, the lawmakers that part of Muslim personal law when it comes to warathat, inheritance, and polygamy and all these things, we actually have to be making an effort to bring that change. And like I said, it's happening in India over the last a couple of decades, where they are going forward and saying, look, this is permissible. We are allowed to have several wives. Similarly, when it comes to waratha, to estate, inheritance, etc., our laws are different, and the government is recognizing that. So here also in this country, we need to be going forward and say, okay, this is the constitution, this is what Islam says. How can we make the changes? But obviously, if a person is engaged in polygamy, that may be illegal, but they're not doing something haram. They're not breaking the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But like I said, on our part, it is something we need to consider and think about going forward. That how do we bring this into place where actually we can have this set of laws, which I think in this India, they've started it and they're addressed it as Muslim personal law. So we should have some platform of that nature in this constitution.
But it is against the law.
It is definitely against the law. You can, the court of law, you'll be prosecuted, but on the part of Islam, you won't be doing anything wrong. You won't transgress the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But like I said, maybe that is something that we have to create a platform and go forward and say, this is our set of rules, this is Islam. And the local people, the American lawmakers are ready to listen. We're not making, if we make our voice heard, like all the changes that are taking place, they're ready to listen, but maybe we are not strong enough in that aspect that we actually go forward.
Yeah, but I've heard some of the states, they have more marriages, like Mormons, they have more.
I think this is in that state.
It's legal, right?
In that state. The Mormons.
Yeah, in some states it is,
so
yeah.
They're breaking the Constitution of America.
They have an amendment in that state.
So did it.
Jazakallah. Inshallah, I can just share a few words, inshallah, with regard to Isra and Miraj.
Well, that was a very good question.
Jazakallah.
Very good question.
Don't worry, I won't tell your wife. Sure, I won't tell your wife, don't worry.
No, I'm not planning right now.
I have one for you.
Growing up, as my ancestors were slaves in America, and my father was a civil rights activist, we never respected the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag, because at the end it says, liberty and justice for all. And it's a hypocritical statement. So, as a child, I was never taught to stand up for that Pledge of Allegiance. Recently,
things have changed, yeah.
Better. But now for Muslims, now it's back to, it's not liberty and justice for all. It's Muslims here in America.
Yeah. So then I think on that part, we have to work hard to actually change that. We have to make those changes.
Like Sheikh said, we have to make ourselves politically strong to set in the Senate to change those rules. That's the only way.
That's the only way, and they listen, and people listen. They have to have a positive
intention of course, the intention of the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag is supposed to be for all people, all colors, but people that that in charge of that, the laws is not true.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it is definitely, but at the same time, like I said, maybe it's a shortcoming on our part that we are not making that creating that platform and going forward. So that's some homework we have to do, including myself. Inshallah.